Thank you for watching another episode of Dvar Malchus, Royal Words by Lubavitcher Rebbe from 5751, 1991. This from Parshas, Bamidbar, Erev Shavous, and the second day of Shavous. We are on page 1. We have spoken many times that in addition to the general content of a holiday, which is the same every year, there are also special lessons from the specific calendar layout of the holiday of the specific year, which emphasize and make more clear and add additional empowerments and fulfillment the general lessons of the holiday, which is the same every year. This year is unique in the fact that the holiday of Shavous is immediately following Shabbos, namely that the service of the Shavous is done with and is under the influence of the holy day of Shabbos, and especially since between them there is no interruption of the day of mundane matters, and such we have a chazaka of 3 holy days, one after another, and this Shabbos is also Shabbos, Parshas Bamidbar. This type of calendar layout is also unique in the fact that the first day of Shavous is on the first day of the week, which is similar to the first day of the week of creation. This first day of the work of creation is understood from the song of the day, in which we immediately go to in the second day of the week, and then Isru Hag, the third day of the week, in all matters, and especially connected to the holidays and Torah Parshas there are by divine providence and are in a height of precision. From this it is understood that the calendar year of Shavous offers a special instruction which emphasizes even more and gives more empowerment to fulfilling the general meaning of the holiday as well. The connection of the holiday of Shavous and the time of the giving of our Torah to Shabbos is emphasized in the words of our sages. All agree that Torah was given to the Jewish people on Shabbos, being that all matters are in a height of perfection as mentioned above, and most certainly so being it is connected to the all-embracing matter of the giving of the Torah, is understood that the fact that the Torah was given on Shabbos, and all agree to this, is because the giving of the Torah and Shabbos have a deep connection. And we may say that one of these explanations is the concept that Shabbos is rest. As the words of our sages, what was the world lacking? Rest. Shabbos came and there came rest. And in the wording of our grace after meals on Shabbos, taken from the wording of the Mishnah, may the merciful one apportion us the day which is Shabbos, which is all Shabbos and the rest of life everlasting. And with greater emphasis in the wording of the Mincha prayer of Shabbos, a day of rest and peace, complete tranquility, which you desire, and in several places more terms of rest. The phenomenon of rest in the world was accomplished in its completeness through the giving of the Torah, as the words of our sages on the verse, and it was evening and it was morning the 6th day. Why is there an additional hey in the 6th day? It teaches us that Hashem made the condition with the word of the creation and said to them, if the Jewish people don't accept the Torah, if the Jewish people accept the Torah, you will exist, and if not, I will return you to nothingness. As the verse says, the land feared and calmed down. First it feared, and at the end, at the giving of the Torah, it calmed down, and therefore all agree that the Torah was given on Shabbos, since through the giving of the Torah and accepting of the Torah, the world rested and calmed down. The completeness of Shabbos came, and there came rest, which was lacking during the 6 days of creation before Shabbos came. And the reason why rest is accomplished specifically through Shabbos and the Torah and the giving of the Torah and the accepting of the Torah, the world was essentially created in a matter of change and movement, the opposite of rest, lacking rest. And the first and foremost, a change due to the general aspect of time. The first day of the week, the second day of the week, which its concept and character is change of past, present, and future, and in the general before and after, and all creations in the world which are made up of time and place are subject to the changes of time as such that they are constantly changing, and in addition there are particular changes of every creation in the world. In addition, also the division of place and different levels of above and below and side, and the changes from place to place is connected to the opposite of the rest. Moreover, change, since every place has its special characteristics and customs, and going from one place to another entails reshuffle, the change from one's previous place and state. The day of Shabbos brought about rest to the world. Shabbos came and there came rest, since the creation was completed in the 6 days of creation, and he completed the heavens and the earth and all that was in them, and Hashem completed his work that he made, and it was clear that the whole world and all its details of the world all the changes in different levels of time and place, how all this is created by one Hashem, the one intention of Hashem, in all the details of creation, which this is higher than the changes of time and place. And therefore it infuses tranquility in the whole creation, since it is the connection to rest both in time as known, that the Shavous is an ascent to above time, which for this reason after Shavous we start counting it again, the first day of the week, etc., as well as in place, as the verse says, every person shall reside in his place on the seventh day. Rest, the permanence in place. And the completeness of this was accomplished at the giving of the Torah, when the Jewish people received the Torah from Hashem, since this is the purpose for which the world was created, the Torah, and for the Jewish people. And when the purpose of the entire creation as one and only one purpose is fulfilled in the revealed way, in a matter that it is evident in the entire world, in a detail of the world, time, and space, it infuses tranquility into the entire world through the fulfillment of the conclusion that Hashem made with the work of the creation. If the Jewish people accept the Torah, you will endure. And the explanation of this, as this is in a simple sense of human nature, when a person does not feel the intention and purpose in his life that I was created to serve my Creator, he cannot remain in a true state of peace and tranquility, since the changes of time and place and all the numerous details of his life cause him constant restlessness, which break him into pieces, specifically when he feels the purpose, the intention and goal found in all these details, that brings him to tranquility, which transcends the movement of change of detail of life, and automatically to him being complete, as we see in the simple sense that a person in its most complete state, when he has rest, peace of mind, and tranquility of body. Moreover, this brings peace not only in the person itself, rather also to all things that he does in the world. They are done more complete and with more success than they are done when he is in a state of tranquility, to the extent that he brings tranquility to the entire world. And likewise, it is also understood, the Habdo, with clear differentiation regarding the giving of the Torah. At the time the Jewish people received the Torah, the purpose of the entire creation was revealed, namely for the Torah and for the Jewish people. The Jewish people should receive the Torah and mitzvahs and fulfill them, and the influence in nations of the world that they should fulfill their 7 Nochai commandments, and through this make the entire world into a dwelling for Hashem in the lowest realm. Therefore, this infused tranquility quieted in the whole world, to the extent that from this piece is drawn also in the detail and changes of time and place, similar to how this is regarded tranquility of Shavous, which is from all the days are blessed, the 6 days of creation, when we are occupied in worldly work, the routine of movement and change, that also when it is occupied with the detail of details, one is in a state of tranquility, and one does not. One does every detail with peace. Automatically it is done in the complete way. And more specifically, in the service of Hashem, although in the service of a Jew there are many details, levels, and manners, nevertheless, the complete service of a state of tranquility is specifically when it is evident the details of the service and the only one point of view, I was only created to serve my Creator, as this is the fulfillment of the mitzvahs, in addition to the specific intention in every individual mitzvah of the 613 mitzvahs. Even before, there has to be a general intention, as the wording of the blessing of the mitzvahs, who has sanctified us with all his mitzvahs and commanded us, and only afterward we say that the specific mitzvah, the intention of all the mitzvahs, were fulfilling the will of Hashem. And in the wording of the Mishnah brought as a law in the beginning of the Shulchan Aruch, to do the will of your Father in heaven, after being enumerated for the 4 manners of the service: be as bold as a leopard, swift as the eagle, run like a deer, and strong as a lion, and an analysis of the precise wording, the will of your Father and not the mitzvah of your Father. Mitzvahs refer also to the division of the mitzvahs into detail, specifically 613 do not add and do not detract, and every mitzvah is separated from all the mitzvahs in its matter of fulfillment, to the extent that mitzvahs are not to be done in bundles, for it is necessary for one's attention to be dedicated to one's mitzvah, whereas will is beyond division in different levels. Will is one in great singular matter, both with regards to the details of the matter, and he wants, and indeed he will. Indeed, the will is in every detail equally, as well as regarding the concept in general. Indeed, will does not change based on the character of the matter that are wanted, saying that in this matter will is such, in such a matter that will is such and such. And therefore it says the word to do the will of your Father in heaven, since the complete service with tranquility is when the one and one point is evident in the fulfillment of all the mitzvahs, namely that with it we are fulfilling the we are fulfilling the will of Hashem. And from this, it is then drawn also into the details of the mitzvah. And every mitzvah is in the specific place as a specific mitzvah, as it is known that every mitzvah includes in it and has in it some parallel to all the other mitzvahs, which therefore one who is occupied in a mitzvah is exempt from doing another mitzvah as that time, since it includes in all the other mitzvahs. Hence, through fulfilling the mitzvah, it is as if he fulfilled also that one, the second mitzvah. The above mentioned matter is seen clearly in the mitzvah of the love of Hashem, which is the source of all positive commandments, and also the mitzvah of fear of Hashem, which is the source of all negative commandments. And you shall love Hashem, your God, with all your heart. Love in the heart is connected specifically to movement and change, a matter of running and forth and returning, coming down. Nevertheless, it says that the service needs to be in a matter of if your heart runs forth, return to one. And seemingly additional words of to one is not understood. Seemingly it would have been sufficient to say if your heart runs, there must be the return. As the verse says, the angles run forth and return. And on the contrary, the service of the heart is connected specifically to the movement of run forth and return, to the extent that the life force of a person provided by the blood from the heart is dependent on there being a constant heartbeat, constant movement of running forth and return. And likewise, it's understood regarding the service of the human service of the heart, love, that it must be in a manner of run forth and return. Running forth brings the return into vessels, and then the return brings into a higher running forth, and then to a higher return, and so forth. Whereas return to one emphasizes that the return has to be to one and only thing, and one and only thing, not many and not even two movements of the run forth and return. And when we say the explanation of this, the complete service is only when it is in a state of tranquility, to the extent that even in a state of change and movement, run forth and return, there should be a phenomenon of tranquility, which this is accomplished specifically when the will of Hashem, the one will, the one intention and purpose, is sensed in all details of service. And therefore it says that if your heart runs forth, return to one. The goal, the return must be not only to reach a higher running forth, rather to one, to fulfill the will of Hashem, namely that he senses it is not the change of movement in his heart running forth to return, rather the fulfillment of the will of Hashem, which is one. It makes no difference if it is run forth or return. And furthermore, in the knowing wording, even if we were commanded to chop wood, and through this, the 2-1 is drawn afterward, also into the detailed service and the detailed movement of the heart, run forth and return. And this is accomplished through the submission of the person to Hashem, that he feels that his whole existence is only to serve, is only as a servant of Hashem, to serve my Creator. And specifically through the submission of the servant of Hashem transpires the servant of the king is the king. He becomes one with the existence of the king, so to say, and similar to the known explanation in Chassidim in the word of prayer of a poor man when he is enwrapped and before Hashem he pours out his request. That the content of a prayer of a poor man is that before Hashem he pours out his request, since through him being in a state of complete submission, his prayer specifically is to speak to Hashem himself, analogous to a rich man and a poor man. In the simple sense, a rich man, because of his understanding of wealth, would sometimes ask for the revelations of the king, silver and gold and the like. And the king is found outside his palace wearing royal clothes and surrounded by the ministers of the king, servants of the king, armies of the king, etc., instead of speaking to the king himself as if he found him in his room. Whereas a poor man, being that he has no understanding at all of the revelations of the king, he asks to speak to the king and naturally alone in his room. And likewise, in the service of Hashem, the prayer of the rich man, due to his understanding the greatness of Hashem, the greatness of the order of the gradational descent of Hashem's revelation, and the ministering angels, Sephrim, Chayos, and Afrim, and Ophanim, including the 10 Sephriot, can be exposed in him, asking for great revelations above, as the king is garbed in vestment and surrounded by the minister of the king and the angels above, which are a vast awesome number. Thousands of thousands serve him, hundreds and hundreds stand before him, to the extent that there is no number of his legions. Or he and the wealthy man would ask for even loftier revelations of godly service, love and fear, spiritual silver and gold and the like, including the revelations of the highest level of the Sephirot, in order the gradational descent of the revelation of godliness, which, notwithstanding their greatness, is connected to the different levels, not returning to one Hashem himself, the one Hashem. As a result, as he also does not have the complete tranquility, since he senses the different levels of above as explained. Whereas the prayer of a poor one poor person, one who is in a state of complete submission, like a poor man indeed, specifically due to his submission and lack of understanding of the revelation above. The contemplative prayer is before Hashem. He pours out his request to speak to the king himself. He blesses the essence similar to, I am praying with the mindset of this child, which a child does not know of Sefriot and Revelations, etc., only that there is a God, and he blessed, and his blessed essence having no connection, transcending all revelations and descriptions, and specifically through the ultimate submission of the servant, which through this he becomes the servant of the king, is the king. He receives afterward all the revelations and riches of Hashem from his full hand, open and holy and wide hand, as in the case of Moshe Rabbeinu, that through his complete submission, what are we? He also has riches. A prayer by Moshe, a prayer of a rich man, is such that also in the difficult levels of the gradational descent of the revelations of Hashem, the unity of Hashem is sensed, and also in the place of change and movement, he has the completeness of rest. And when we say that this is also alluded to the word Melech, king, the servant of the king is the king, acronym of Moach, Lev, Kavod, brain, heart, and liver. The difference between the brain and the heart is that the brain does not move, and on the contrary, the completeness of the brain intellect is specifically in the state of peace and tranquility. The heart, on the other hand, is in constant moving, running forth and return of the heartbeat, and specifically this expresses the life force of the heart and the providing of the blood to the body, and likewise the attribute of the heart, love, that they are in a state of movement and yearning in a manner of running forth and return through the service of the servant. Submission, he becomes the servant of the king is the king, and the union of both matters, the peace of mind and the movement of the heart, the tranquility of the brain is drawn forth and permeates the movement of the heart. The attributes in a movement of the brain rules over the heart. Moreover, eventually it is no more a matter of ruling against his will, rather a heartfelt manner willingly, and the ability for this is through the submission of the servant, which this touches the will of the king. Moreover, the essence of the king, which transcends division even of the brain, which gives this the power to draw tranquility, complete rest into all the powers of the soul, and connect the tranquility of the brain with the movement of the heart. And when we say that this is alluded to the kavod lever, which the blood is congealed, which comes from the heart in one place in a peaceful manner. And this matter, the revelation of the essence of the king of all kings, Hashem, through the submission of the servant of the Jewish people, was accomplished in a complete and revealed way at the giving of the Torah. At the giving of the Torah, there was a revelation of I am Hashem, the revelation of the essence of Hashem to the physical eye you saw to know, and the preference to this was the submission of the Jewish nation through the Jewish people proceeding we will do before we will hear, which through this the angels tied on to each and every Jew 2 crowns, one corresponding to the we will do and one corresponding to we will hear. And more specifically, there are 3 crowns that the people of the country made for the king, that the Jewish people gave to Hashem, and he put 1 on his head, and 2 he put on the heads of his children, specifically through the submission of the nation is the king crown, since their submission touches before higher and higher Habaya. This is blessed essence, and there is where he will be a king is aroused from, there is where he is drawn forth, and through the entire order the gradational descent of the revelation of Hashem are created, including Asiya here below, as explained in the Hasidic discourses on Rosh Hashanah, as this was at the giving of the Torah in the simple sense that together with their being, accept my kingship, a central point in all the matters that there was, I will decree upon you decrees, the decrees or the details of the mitzvahs, however, as such that in all the details we have the peace which comes from the one point found in all the mitzvahs. And likewise the Torah itself, in addition to the revelation of the Torah from above, and Hashem descended upon Har Sinai, and Hashem spoke all these words, saying, indeed the Torah was given as such that it is not in heaven, rather specifically down here, and the rulings of the Torah law are specifically by logical decisions, the Jewish court down here, and you will come to the Cohens and to the judges that will be here in those times as they evaluate the conditions and the state of the world, and specifically there we draw tranquility and peace of the Torah, which the entire Torah was given to make peace in the world. And from this it's drawn the power of the giving of the Torah to accomplish peace, quiet in the entire world, resulting from the purpose of the entire creation being revealed as mentioned above. Based on this, we also understand the order of the service of the Jewish people in preparation for the giving of the Torah. After the exodus from Egypt, they had the service in the 49 days of the Sefriot, counting and refining and details of the attributes of kindness, until kindness of kingship, a service in the manner of changes every day in the higher level, and after 49 days, at the end of kingship, the complete submission of prayer of a poor man, we reach the 50th day, the 50th gate of Bina, as known that the kingship touches Kesser crown, including the innermost of Kesser before higher than Havaya, the revelation of the giving of the Torah. I am Hashem, your God, to the extent that this becomes your God, your strength, and your life force. And together with this, the Jewish people receive all the revelations of the order of the gradational descent of the revelations of Hashem, the revelations of Maseh Karva, the heavenly chariot, and Hashem descends on the mountain of Sinai in his honorable throne, in addition to the revelation and providing the physical need and physical wealth which they had from their spoils in Egypt and the spoils of the sea, are permeated with the recognition of the phenomenon return to one. Based on the above explanation, we will understand the empowerment from the calendar layout of this year when we go straight from Shavous into Shavous, the time of the giving of the Torah, the first day of the week. Every Shavous, the phenomenon of tranquility in the creation. Shabbos came, and there came rest, is accomplished similar to the first Shabbos, and every Sunday the matters that took place on the first day in the creation of the world repeat themselves, namely the creation of the whole entire world anew, beginning with the creation of a time anew. The first day, in the beginning of Hashem, created the heavens and the earth. Esh hashamayim v'es ha'aretz. The extra world, es, the heavens is to add all that is in it, and es, the earth, is to add all that is in it. And likewise is true regarding the giving of the Torah in Shavous. Every year the Torah is given anew, similar to how it was given, the giving of the Torah the first time, as the wording who gives the Torah in present tense, and furthermore in a matter of ascending in holy matters. And based on this, it's understood that when Shabbos follows right into Shavos with no interval on the weekday work, two lessons are clearly emphasized, since the Erev in preparation for the holiday of Shavos is Shabbat, whose concept is tranquility, which is generally the content of the giving of the Torah. Hence, all agree that the Torah was given on Shabbos, and this gives yet a more power for the drawing forth of the peace in the Shavos, coming right into from the influence of the peace of Shabbos. Since the time of the giving of the Torah in the first day of the week is emphasized even more that the peace, the giving of the Torah, draws into existence the world, which on this day, Sunday, is created anew, similar to the first day of creation, drawing peace in a world which is connected to change and division of time and place. Moreover, the existence of the world becomes new, and drawing from Torah becoming new during the time of the giving of the Torah. As it says, he looked into the Torah and created the world. Hence, it's understood that the Torah given in a new time of giving of the Torah this year is even more connected to the innovation and drawing peace, quiet, into the endurance of the world. And based on this, we understand the spiritual connection to Shavous and the Parshas Bamidbar specifically. The giving of the Torah was specifically in the Midbar desert, and obviously this was not by chance, heaven forbid, rather by divine providence, most certainly, for all matters of the world are, since the giving of the Torah has a connection to the concept of a desert. And when we say that one of the explanations of this within the world itself, which on its own is lacking rest, where there is no peace and essence of mankind in a desert, which a desert is a place that no person resides there. If he is a person, his place is not in the desert, and certainly not his place of being settled. No person resides there. And the accomplishment of the giving of the Torah is drawing peace, quiet, even in a place which is completely opposite of peace and settling of a person. No person resides there. And most certainly that there is tranquility is drawn also to the rest of the world where people reside. And to add that this is also emphasized in the fact that at the beginning of the Parsha of Bamidbar, it speaks about the counting of the Jewish people in the Sinai desert. Counting is connected to permanence and being settled. The matter of counting is not nullified, and especially counting the Jewish people, which being that they are beloved to him, he counts them constantly, which this adds even more to their prominence and rest. And on the other hand, the counting of the Jewish people was specifically in the desert. No person settles there, drawing the rest below into a place of opposite of being settled. And when we say an example of this is in the counting of the tithe of animals, lahavdil, with the obvious difference that we count the animals specifically when they are not in a settled state in one place, rather as they are going out of the barn until one reaches 10th. Indeed, the 10th shall be kodesh, holy. Kodesh means holiness, namely the word on its own, a level that is beyond time and confines of the world, namely complete rest and being settled, the practical instruction from the above spoken, since at the time of the giving of the Torah every year, and the giving of the Torah again and again in a new manner, and is given down here specifically as not given in heaven, as such that there is a novel level of rest is added to the world. It is understood that the Jewish people need to receive the Torah every year again in a new manner. Every day it should be new in your eyes, including mamish, literally new, and in a manner that they accept it with their intellect down here, including in a manner of mamish, an idiom of tangible. And most certainly this year, when we proceed from Shavous into the time of the giving of the Torah on the first day of the week, that the novelty in this must be with advanced vigor and greater strength, that in both extremes the receiving of the Torah anew with the recognition of the giving of the Torah, and that the Torah is the purpose of the entire creation. Hence it is cause a novel level of tranquility for the Jew and his service and beings tranquility to the world, together with this drawing the tranquility of the Torah in all the details of the mitzvah, in all the details of one's soul powers, and all details of his service, including in all the details of the world. Beginning with him taking a novel step in his Torah study, together with the recognizing of the giving of the Torah, and especially through the learning of the inner dimension of the Torah. Know the Hashem, know the God of your Father, and serve him with a complete heart, together with this Torah study understood by human intellect. And simply, every Jew should add a novelty in quality and quantity in Torah study, both in general study portions that are appropriate for every person equally, including and especially in the present time a study of Shavous every Shabbos in the summer months. And it would be good that we should study in one Mishnah or a few Mishnah in depth and others shouldn't comprehend. And likewise in the known daily Chita study, studying every day the portion of Chumash as divided among the days of the week, and the portion of Tehillim as it is divided among the days of the month, and the portion of Tanya as it is divided among the days of the year, which these study portions correlate to the three leaders connected to the holiday of Shavous. Chumash corresponds to Moshe, who received the Torah at Har Sinai, and Tehillim to the book of King David, passed away on Shavous, and Tanya, which explains the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, which also his yahrzeit is in the holiday of Shavous, as well as how good and correct in the study of Rambam as it is divided among the days of about 1 year through learning 3 chapters a day, or divided among 3 years by studying 1 chapter a day, or in Sepheret HaMitzvot, as well as in one's individual study sessions in all parts of Torah in each and every Jew and Jewish person at a proportion befitting their level. And in this matter, addition and novelty in Torah in connection with the time of giving of our Torah is appropriate to suggest, arouse, and encourage another matter, to publicize and print novel Torah insights. And by way of preference, it is known that every Jew has the ability, moreover has the obligation, to innovate novel insights in Torah, to broaden it as the Alter Rebbe rules and laws of Talmud Torah, to innovate many novels, laws in accordance with one's self-assurance and the degree of one's knowledge, and as knowing that every Jew has his unique portion in Torah, place our portion in your Torah, in which he has the ability to be a student who innovates new insights in Torah. In the previous generations, people were cautious with regard to novel Torah insights, even when it was not regarding a ruling in applied Jewish law, rather only in analysis, both regarding written and novel Torah insights, and most certainly regarding publicizing them in printed form. And the acceptable conduct was not all that one can go ahead, rather only after several conditions that prove that the novel insights are completely correct in Torah, etc. Whereas in the generation after this, including our generation, on one hand, indeed, there must be an even greater caution, since we cannot rely on every person that writes novel Torah insights and writes ruling on Jewish law. However, on the other hand, because of the decline of the latter generations, we must find and more ways to the better to add in Torah study in the matter of make the Torah broader and mightier, including greatening the publicizing of it. And therefore it is appropriate to encourage and arouse all those who are capable of innovating Torah insights, and on one condition, that is studied in accordance with the rules of the Torah, as obvious that even if they are not certain if their novel insights are completely correct in Torah, indeed not should they hold themselves back from writing the novel insights. On the contrary, they should put every effort to write them and also publicize them in print form in an analogy dedicated to his own writings, or an analogy which also includes other people's novel Torah insights, and not only among their friends and students, rather also among people who study Torah in general. And the main reason for this, as mentioned, since we actually also And since we also actually, and so it is the practice of the rabbis, that through this there will be an addition in making the Torah broader and mightier in liveliness and pleasure in the Torah study, both regarding oneself, as we see simply the gain that there is Torah study through one needing to write it up for others, as well as regarding other people. On envy, the Torah scholars causes more wisdom, which the gain for this is the best indicator for the necessity of it. And as said, although there is possibility that the novel insight is completely correct in Torah, as mentioned above, it is worthwhile, and especially that one can clarify this through not making a conclusion in Jewish law, or even if one does not write a conclusion, one can add to this in accordance with my humble opinion, or do not rely on this or the like, and to add that when one publicizes the innovative insights in print form or others, indeed in human nature, because of one's self-respect and the accepted custom also of the animal soul, that he will be even more careful and look over it again and again to analyze the topic about which he is writing and publicizing. And Yasher Koach, may there be strengthened to all those who study Torah and fulfill mitzvahs in a satisfactory way, and will utilize the arousal of the time of the giving of the Torah to place effort to innovate new Torah insights in accordance with the rules of the Torah and the publicizing their novel insights. And may it be the will of Hashem, and pray to become as close as possible to the level of a veteran student, which all the veteran students is destined to innovate, was given to Moshe at Har Sinai. And may it be the will of Hashem that in addition, the addition and innovation in Torah study coming forth from the time of the giving of the Torah should add even more tranquility, peace in soul, tranquility of the body, and those who study Torah, along with the health of the soul and healthy body, and tranquility of all the Jewish people in every place in which they are, and also in tranquility in the world, including that this will soon bring the true and complete tranquility of the day that is Shavous, and tranquility for life everlasting. The elimination of the exile of the Jewish people, which the exile is the greatest opposite of peace and tranquility of the Jewish people. Woe is to them, the children that were exiled from the table of their father, that there is an elimination both of the disturbance of the exile as well as the opposite of peace in the inner exile in the godly service, including as obviously the elimination of all the hindrances of exile and all the questions about the details of the redemption of Mashiach, which this is the result of the exile itself, a result of one being born in exile and raised in exile, hence he is an exile person, heaven forbid, and finds himself in an exile state, and there should be nullified and transformed through true return to Hashem, through revealing in himself and emphasizing the soul, a portion of Hashem literally, which transcends exile and is in a state of tranquility similar to Shabbos and rest for everlasting. And this comes in a manner of Mayad, immediately, Miyad, the acronym of Moshe, Yisrael, Baal Shem Tov, and David, the ancestor of King Mashiach, the three leaders connected to the holiday of Shavous, as mentioned above, closely and immediately, literally close to the Torah scholarship. There is a blessed Miyad, acronym of the above mentioned mamash, in a tangible manner, in a physical and coarse physicality of the world, is such that we make coarse physicality into regular physicality, and physicality a vessel for spirituality, including the highest spirituality, including for the essence of Hashem, so to say, who is connected specifically to the physical essence, in the true and complete redemption through Mashiach, and in the swift matter to accomplish and to do this matter indeed. King Mashiach, the exemplifier of David, will come and redeem us, and every one of us says to Mashiach, Shalom Aleichem, peace upon you, Aleichem in plural, including all the souls of the Jewish people of the generation of redemption, and he answers every person individually, Aleichem Shalom, Aleichem in plural, including the deeds and service of every Jew, and Aleichem Shalom to all the Jews together, and more and mainly immediately to Yom Tov. Have a wonderful Shavuos and Zayga Bench. Thank you for watching.